Hello there, it's a beautiful spring day in April 2013, and I guess I want to ask you the question, how's your 2013 going? Mine's certainly been very eventful, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how things have developed for me this year. So it started with the earlier films which you've seen, and there is a title to the series. It's called From Shit to Gold, and I became very keenly aware at the turn of the year, at the beginning of this year, just how difficult I was experiencing life to be. And this year has been one of gradual discovery and really getting to the bottom of things and getting things sorted out. And it's been on two very different levels. So this is a bit of a strange film for me to talk about, because I need to juggle these two and bring them all in together, because they definitely relate. So I'll start off with the easiest one first, which is I've been definitely deteriorating in health for quite some time. Things were particularly difficult last year. I noticed I had a lot to do, and it was difficult, and I knew that my gut was not happy. And this follows on from the film about the vagus nerve and the importance of the gut feeling. So my gut was not happy. My gut was really giving you an important message. And I guess I wasn't listening clearly enough to what my gut was saying. My gut was saying things are not right, seriously not right. And so what happened is things continued to deteriorate. I noticed I had all sorts of little symptoms, very tedious to relate, like skin not doing very well, getting more itchy, more irritable, thinner, more difficult, problems with the bowels. And it finally got to the point when I realised I was so incapacitated, I was actually incapable of doing my work. I was halfway through doing a session for a client and had to eventually apologise and say I got halfway through this particular session and I totally ground to a halt. Energetically speaking, I totally ran out of the ability to function. So this should have been sufficient, but I'm very grateful to the fact that my daughter has the wisdom to point things out to me, and also the guts to point things out to me which are not so easy to say. So she suggested I needed to get myself tested to see whether I was having anything going on that I didn't know about, because I was suffering from diarrhea for quite some time, been going on for a long time. This is really the sign of the gut instinct telling me something was wrong. So I did the conventional thing and got my stool sample tested, and when the results came back 2 days later, the GP phoned up and said, "You've got giardiasis." And she asked me a series of questions about what I've been doing, and the first thing she wanted to find out is, where have you been abroad? And it took me a while to realise that, of course, the important thing in this part of my story was back in October 2011 when I went to India for a month. And although I was incredibly careful about drinking only bottled water, and I did cook most of my own food, there was this one meal that I ate, and it was fish with salad. Hello, wake up, Keith. If you eat salad in a place where the water can't guarantee to be pure, you might just as well have gone and drank the water out of the local stream for all the good it did to me. And so this is what I came down with the diagnosis of giardiasis. So I'm going to show you the little photograph here to show you what these creatures look like. Now, this is not bacteria or viruses, which you often get problems with the gut. No, these are little creatures called protozoa. They're single-celled animals, and they have a very unfortunate habit. What they do is they've got these little devices which they grasp onto the small intestine. So I realised it was serious, it had been going on for far too long, so I decided to go for the orthodox treatment. And very grateful I was too to be given metronidazole. Now, when I worked in medical pathology, it's a particular drug I was well aware of and used to prescribe to people with certain sexually transmitted diseases. It works very well for any protozoan type parasite. So did the medicine, and after a week of the medicine, the difference in me was phenomenal. And my digestive system is still taking time to recover, but it's nonetheless much better than it's ever been. And what I've been finding is my energy levels are going back up, and I am able to work for my clients again. And I'm starting to enjoy the really good health that I used to have a long time ago. The other part of the story goes back much, much further, all the way back to 2005. In 2005, I was subjected to what I would call the misuse of magic, that someone decided to use their ability to misuse magic to direct hostile negative energy towards me. And that's been going on for rather longer than the 18 months, 17 months. That's been going for about 8 years. And that has actually had a effect on me, which I can relate to other things too. There are certain other physical things which I've had happen to me in those 8 years. So as well as the other subject I've been talking about, there was that going on too. And so I realised I needed to do something which all healers need to be aware of. I think that's the thing I really want to stress. If you're a healer, then the thing you need to be really aware of is it's essential to seek help from other people when you need it. And this is something that I've done on many occasions when I felt it was appropriate. But this particular thing was so entrenched and been causing me so much problem. And the people that I normally go to for help they did their best, but it didn't work in the long term. So finally, I resorted to going for some really heavy duty help. And it all ended up with me going to get in touch with my teacher, who taught me back in 2005, 2006 on my shamanic practitioner's course. And by this time he was actually living in another country, but it was okay because we worked out a connection through Skype. And he gave me the most wonderful healing session, which took a mere 34 minutes. And that's why I'm so delighted to be involved in shamanism, because a 34-minute session with this guy literally turned around an 8-year problem. And what he did is he took me through the details I need to be aware of. So my teacher did some really useful healing practices, which I'm not going to go into here because that's not the important bit. Then the next thing is when he came up with a really practical advice. So he asked the questions no other therapist had asked. He says, do you have any object that relates to the person that's originating this particular negative energy? And I thought about it and I suddenly realised, yes. For all these years I've been carrying a photograph in my wallet. So that was an important thing. But I want to bring out another thing too, which is that it's my learning experience, but my general preference when dealing with difficulties with people is always to send them the love. And this works most of the time, but in the case of magical attack, it's not actually going to do any favours. And what I had to be persuaded to understand is that by sending this person the love, what I'd actually established was a link or a cord between me and the person. That link was actually being used to direct this negative energy. So his very specific and quite harsh advice is not to send that person any thought or energy whatsoever. Okay? And then the final thing, which is to do a fire ceremony for the only single object, which was a photograph. So it was with great pleasure that after the session was over, I concocted my own little ceremony. I smudged the photograph with sage, and then with deliberate intent, focusing in on fire energy, I had a candle there as well. I finally set fire to the photograph, and that cleared that particular intrusive negative energy. So I was sitting in front of this camera in a way I've not been able to do for a long, long time, because first of all, my gut is feeling better than it's done for 18 months, but I, in my whole being, am feeling better than I've felt for a very long time. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Howard, my teacher, and to thank nature. I just love being in nature. This is another indicator. I noticed I was spending less and less time in nature. All the things that I was normally doing to nurture myself, I was doing less of. The things that I would do that gave me pleasure, I was doing less of. And even my consumption of food, I noticed, had been going down in this period of time. And it's like, you should see what I eat now. Absolutely phenomenal, because I'm literally making up for all that I've lost. I'm saving the best bit till last. My teacher said, I want you to know there's a new guide for you. Now, as someone who's been practicing with guides and helpers for quite some time, it's a very rare and a special occasion that I get a new guide. So he introduced me to this guide. This guide is called Rhinoceros. Now, what we know about rhinoceros is rhinoceros has got a thick hide. And it was one of my symptoms, particularly with the gut parasites, that I'd actually noticed my skin was feeling thinner. In thinner is becoming more and more irritable. Well, the irritation's gone right down, and my skin is starting to thicken up as a result of this. So rhinoceros gives me a thick hide, which gives me more ability to withstand other people's negativity. The other real gift of rhinoceros is rhinoceros really links into the gut instinct and the vagus nerve. Because what rhinoceros offers me is the quality of always being very alert. So I've got this increased alertness, particularly alertness to any potential problems. So I'm very, very grateful for Rhinoceros, and he's already fully incorporated into my pantheon of guides and helpers, and already part of my healing practice. So it's something that I say as a matter of great pleasure to be able to announce that I have this new guide, and very much enjoying his presence in my life. So to recapitulate this, what I want to say is one of the problems you can have with certain conditions is that the deterioration can be very, very slow. It's like, I know people when they go to places like India, they get something like dysentery. Immediately they're affected by something and they have a problem. But that wasn't what I had. I had something which had such a very slow, gradual deterioration in my condition. So if your condition does deteriorate over a period of time, don't think it's just old age, because, as in my case, it might not be. In my case, it emphatically wasn't. And I'm also aware of the fact that I became that depleted of energy to be able to pick up the parasite in the first place was because I'd been subjected to negative energies over a considerable period of time. So it does all link in. So that's really what I'd like to conclude by saying is, do really pay attention to yourself, and if you feel that you are getting a deterioration, don't just put it down to something simple, because it could be something that needs to be dealt with. It could be appropriate to go get yourself checked out through the doctor. It could be appropriate to go to a healer, and even if you're a practitioner, it might be appropriate to go to a practitioner with other skills which you can go to and then get assistance and help. So thank you very much indeed, everyone, and I do appreciate those people who have healed me and have given me the warning signs of your condition's not looking good, because it really has been deteriorating for a long time. So I now really enjoy increased health and being able to be more physically active than I've been able to be for many years. So more films to come in the future, and may your 2013 give you more alignment with your true essence, more alignment with your higher self, and may you find yourself listening to your gut more, and may you make the choices that mean you're living the life that you want to live for you. May you enjoy it. Thank you. So I just want to link in with the fact that there is the Long Angels film, and the price on that one has been reduced down to $2. So if you'd like to explore angels in some depth, you're most welcome to do so with that film. And the link is in the description. Thank you very much.